What's up, guys? Now, one of my most popular videos is this. Look at scary TikToks. So I'm gonna react to scary TikToks again because apparently that's one of the things that people do now. So I'm just gonna search up scary TikToks, and whatever the first one is, that's what I'm doing. No? Yeah. The first one. Alright. We're gonna watch two videos.
This is why you should always change your locks. In 2017, a college girl woke up from a nightmare drenched in sweat and decided to rinse off before going back to sleep. She propped her phone on a shelf, turned on some music, and then hopped in the shower. A few minutes later, she reaches for her phone to change the song, but stops suddenly. Reflected on her phone's screen was a person standing in the middle of her bathroom facing the shower. She somehow kept her composure, turned the water to scalding hot, and then ripped open the curtain and sprayed the intruder in the face. As they howled in pain, she ran past them to her kitchen to get her butcher's knife. In a panic, she can't find her knife, so she just runs out of the apartment and calls the police. The police go in and come out with a crazy-looking woman in handcuffs. One of the officers comes over to the girl and says she used to live here and she had copies of your keys. Then he pauses and looks down and brings up a clear evidence bag that contained her butcher's knife, and he says, "Looks like she wanted her apartment back."
There's something terrifying going on at Chuck E. Cheese.
Okay, hold on. Before we even do this, that is like terrifying. Like, imagine I'm just in the shower. I go to reach for my phone to skip an ad on my music, and boom, this random woman is in my bathroom trying to kill me. That'd be terrifying.
Right now, and I'm gonna explain it to you. So we all know about the game Five Nights at Freddy's, right? It's a game based around a restaurant that's pretty much like a Chuck E. Cheese where the animatronics come to life and wreak havoc on all the guests there. But what if I told you this was possibly happening in real life right now? Just 2 days ago, 5 children have gone missing inside of a Chuck E.
There's 5 animatronics in FNAF and 5 children have just gone missing. What the freak?
Cheese, and the parents reported a weird smell from the inside of the building. And then just like Five Nights at Freddy's, someone that worked the late night shift actually got killed after hours. Now these are all pretty weird, but here's the kicker right here.
Shut up. Like, no way Chuck E. Cheese got so jealous of FNAF for basically stealing their branding that they turned into FNAF.
Check out this headline. Night shift workers from Chuck E. Cheese claim strange movement from animatronics post hours.
What the freak? Why? There is a real life William Afton out there and we're just letting him roam free.
So I don't know. What do you think about this? Do you think it's real? Do you think it's fake? And I mean, with 2020 and everything going on, like, I wouldn't be shocked if it was real.
This is 2020? Wait, is this 2020? This is 2020. Okay, so this probably ain't real. It's
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part
facts.
1. When creating the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland, they couldn't create skeletons that looked realistic enough, so they used real human skeletons. Since then, they've removed all but one. Ducks sometimes become cannibals due to boredom, meaning they kill and eat each other. This behavior begins as early as 4 weeks old. Crocodiles are capable of galloping, similar to a horse. Luckily, alligators cannot. And while we're at it, tarantulas can swim. It's extremely common after you die that there will be extreme gas buildup and you will burp after death. And sometimes dead bodies can even sit up on their own. Also, if a pregnant woman dies, the gas buildup in her body can actually forcefully push a baby out. In other words, a post-mortem baby bazooka. Hearing is the last bodily function to go after one dies, so it's very possible that the last thing you ever hear is the paramedic calling off your CPR.
This is why you should never stay in sketchy motels. In 2005, a young woman on a solo road trip across the country decided to stop for the night. The first place she sees is the Mountaintop Motel. It looked pretty cheap, but she was tired, so she said good enough. The check-in guy eyed her up and down very uncomfortably and then asked her if she was traveling alone. She ignores the question, pays for her room, and then walks away with the key. When she gets inside her room and sees there are literally cockroaches in her bed, she says nope and decides to sleep in her car in the parking lot. Around 3 a.m., she wakes up to see the check-in guy using his own keys to get into the motel room she was supposed to be in. A few minutes later, he storms out and slams the door and starts walking towards her car. Terrified, she hides under her blanket as the man tries to open her car doors but can't and walks away. She speeds off and calls her friend and asks her to look up the address of Mountaintop Motel so she can give it to police. Her friend's quiet for a second and then just says, "The Mountaintop Motel closed a week ago. If someone offers you this, walk away." In 2016, a man was staying at his friend's cabin.
The one thing that made me look away was that last image. That scared me. That terrified me.
In the woods when he decided to go for an evening stroll. A little ways down the trail, he hears someone call out from behind his neighbor's house. He looks up and he sees this skinny guy pop out from behind the building who starts waving frantically at him to come over. Worried this guy could be in trouble, the man takes off running to assist, but when he gets close enough, the neighbor just offers him a fistful of Slim Jims and starts talking about how much he hates his wife. Sensing there was something wrong with this guy, he says no thank you to the Slim Jims and walks away. The next day, the man calls his friend who owned the cabin to ask him what the deal was with his weirdo neighbor. There was silence on the phone, and then his friend just says, "I don't have any neighbors." The police are called, and it turns out his neighbor was really some lunatic who had recently killed his wife and had been hiding out in the abandoned cabin next door. This is why you always say yes to tandoori chicken. In 2012, a high school tutor and
Okay, hold on. I'm trying to look to see if there's any terrifying images. Okay, just smile log. I mean, there's that. That would be kind of scary to some people.
Her student stayed up so late one night studying that by the time they were done, the buses had stopped running. Without another way home, the student asked if he could stay the night at her place. Reluctantly, she agreed. When they got back to the apartment, she fell asleep on her bed and he fell asleep on a blanket next to her bed on the ground. A few hours later, she wakes up to the boy standing awkwardly in the middle of the room with a very strange look on his face. She asks him, "What's wrong?" He looks at her and says, "I'm really hungry. Let's go get some tandoori chicken." Confused, she says, "It's 2 a.m. Just get a snack in the cupboard." And he grabs her by the arm and he says, "No, we are getting tandoori chicken right now." And he yanks her from the bed. Feeling totally caught off guard by this whole situation, she goes into the hall with the boy, and as soon as the door shuts behind them, she can tell that he is terrified. He looks at her and just says, "I'm not actually hungry. When I woke up, there was someone under your bed." This is why you should always trust your gut. In the early 1970s, a college student decided to hitchhike his way home after class. A car pulls up, a man offers him a ride, and he climbs in. As soon as the car started moving, the student felt totally uneasy, like something was wrong but he couldn't quite place it. Without saying anything, he waited till the next time they slowed down and he flung the door open and ran away. 2 years later, he's flicking through TV channels when he comes across this special interview with a death row inmate, and it's just the audio recording, so he hears the interviewer ask the inmate, "Why did you remove all the door handles inside of your car?" The man just goes, "Well, the first time I tried to kill someone, I picked up a college hitchhiker who got smart at some point and jumped out of my car. So, lesson learned, remove all the door handles." When they showed his picture, the student knew immediately that he was supposed to be the first victim of John Wayne Gacy, aka the Killer Clown, who had killed over 30 men and boys in his clown room and stuffed them into his basement. This is why you should always...
Oh my god. God dang, if this kid wasn't smart, he would have been the first victim of John. That's actually partially terrifying. Partially.
Always trust your gut. In the 1970s, a young couple decided to go for a late night hike in the woods. A couple minutes into their walk, and the man remembers thinking something's not right.
Yeah.
He tells his girlfriend, but they just decide to ignore it and keep going, until he steps on something that felt really soft, like it was alive. Before he has a chance to see what he stepped on, they hear all this rustling in the bushes next to them and they bolt. Years later, that couple turns on the TV and a death row inmate who's about to be executed is being interviewed. And they ask him, was there ever a time that you were almost caught red-handed? He responded, yes, one time. I was in the woods and a couple walked through and the man actually stepped on the body of a girl I had just killed. I was hiding in the bushes just a few feet away. They didn't see me. That couple had run into one of the worst serial killers of all time, Ted Bundy.
So
Oh my god.
supposedly, this is what the fallen angel Lucifer looks like. And this is what the moon looked like on March 31st, 2020. I don't know about any of you guys, but this is scary, especially with everything going on in the world right now. Pretty cool.
Right?
Let this be a reminder that there really are monsters out there. In 2007, a woman
Yeah.
living right near a prison in California got home late one night and went right to bed. Around midnight, she woke up to footsteps on her first floor, assumed it was her roommate, so she goes downstairs to say hi. She yells out to her roommate, who doesn't say anything, and then in walks this giant man who she doesn't recognize. She runs upstairs, jumps in her closet into the crawl space, and hides. As she's helplessly tucked away in this little crawl space, trying not to make any sound, all she hears is this giant man sprinting around her house, running into walls, flipping furniture, and screaming in frustration because he can't find her. Finally, after several hours, she slowly opens the crawl space back up, crawls out, and gets her phone off the nightstand and calls police. As she's telling the police her story, she describes the person who had broken in, and they stop her and say, "Ma'am, go back in the crawl space and stay there. We'll be there as soon as we can." It turned out a 6'11" convicted murderer had escaped the prison and was still on the loose.
AI. It's cool, but it's also AI.
If you scare easily, I wouldn't watch this video. In 2013, a mine explorer found this entrance to an abandoned mine.
Should we watch this? Yeah. Yeah. I scare easily. Yeah, let's watch it.
And decided to go have a look around. He decides to film his experience and upload it to his YouTube channel where he had uploaded hundreds of other videos of him exploring mines, but he never once references the paranormal or ghosts or anything like that until this video. As soon as he steps foot inside, he tells the camera that he has a really uneasy feeling about
For this one time that he actually explains the paranormal, paranormal? While he never does it. That's gotta be creepy.
being there and wonders if he should even keep going, but he does. Everything seems pretty normal until he gets to a section in the mine where there's a bunch of chains hanging down from the ceiling. He hears something in the back of the tunnel, so he pulls his flashlight out and he shines it towards the back, and he sees a chain swinging, and it shouldn't be, because there's no draft and he's all alone, and you can tell he's scared by the way he starts talking. Although he's totally freaked out, he wants to know what's causing the chain to swing, so he goes farther and farther into the mine.
You're stupid. Why would you do that?
Until he hears something. People whispering in every direction. He gets totally spooked and runs out. If you don't want to sleep tonight, watch the whole video. This is why you should never open your door for strangers. In 2013, a woman let her dog out to use the bathroom one more time before bed.
Does nightmare feel, will it actually? Okay, that could scare some people.
After only a few minutes, she starts hearing scratching on her door, which is typically the sound her dog makes when he's ready to come in, but it just seemed way too soon for him to be done being outside. So she decides to look through the peephole to make sure it really is her dog, but what she sees is terrifying. A deranged-looking man is right outside her door, staring intently at her door handle, waiting for it to turn open. As she's looking in horror, unable to do anything, he starts scratching at the door as hard as he can, never leaving his gaze from the door handle. She manages to stifle a scream, she backs away and realizes her dog is still outside. So she goes to the side window, but there's no sign of her dog, and so she goes back to the door to see if maybe the man's moved. He hasn't moved, his mouth is open, and he's staring directly at the peephole. Then he turns around and walks away. With the man gone, she discovers her dog, unharmed, his leash had just been cut. But that means he had a knife.
Terrifying facts about the ocean. Let's get into it. So we've explored... Yeah.
He had a knife.
Terrifying facts about the ocean. Let's get into it. So we've explored yeah.
This is the scary story about the accident. There was a man named Nicholas Miller who was 32 years old. One day he decided that
Alright, hold on. You're not watching this. Do you know what we are gonna watch? This. No. We had to search this again. Yeah, this. 31 minutes.
Blood-curdling facts that'll give you nightmares. Many doctors have said that the most common last words that they hear are, "I don't feel so good." Most of the laughing sound effects that you hear on TV shows were recorded in the 1950s, meaning that most of those people that you hear laughing are probably dead. During the French Revolution, it was said that the guillotine had to be used multiple times to get the job done. The reason why planes shut their lights off right before they land is so that the passengers' eyes can adjust to the dark just in case there's a crash. This is so that if the power goes off during the crash landing, they can better find an escape route.
this girl was born with two heads. Manar Magid was born in Egypt in 2004, but she wasn't born alone. Attached to her head was another head, a second skull, a face that could blink, smile, and move its lips, but had no body of its own. It was her twin, a parasitic twin, fused to her scalp and feeding off her bloodstream. The condition is called Craniohopicus parasiticus, and it's so rare that fewer than a dozen cases have ever been recorded in human history. The second head had no thoughts, no consciousness, but it moved, and it lived through her. Doctors feared that Manar wouldn't survive. The parasitic twin was draining her body's strength. Her organs overworked just to keep both heads alive. Every heartbeat, every breath, shared. In 2005, at just 10 months old, Manar underwent a high-risk surgery to remove the second head. The surgery was a success, and it was the first of its kind. And Manar lived. She opened her eyes, she smiled, but the victory was short. Just weeks after the surgery, she died of a brain infection. Her body simply couldn't keep up.
We have some crazy things happening in the world right now. Kim Jong-un watched as North Korea's newest warship literally fell off the dock. A man proposed to his girlfriend with a tornado swirling in the background. Nvidia is attempting to create an entire digital twin of the Earth. Rockstar changed the appearance of a character from the GTA 6 trailer after a Florida man claimed it was him and asked for money. AI can now guess passwords with 93% accuracy just by listening to the sounds of your keyboard keystrokes over Zoom. Can you guess that? Russian scientists thawed out 300 worms from Siberian permafrost, and 2 of them that are both over 30,000 years old came back to life. Don't think that's gonna end well for us. This is the world's last known white giraffe, and he is being tracked by a GPS after his female counterpart and calf were taken out by poachers.
Babies who were born on the literal perfect day. Back in 2019, a baby girl was born on July 11th, making the date 7/11. Well, the baby was also born at 7:11 p.m. and the baby also weighed 7 pounds and 11 ounces. From this, the convenience store 7-Eleven saw this and gave the baby $7,111, making this baby the most 7-Eleven baby in history. Next, in 2022, this baby girl was born at one of the craziest times possible because she was born on February 22nd, 2022, which is 2/22/2022. But she was also born at 2:22 a.m. and she weighed 7 pounds and 10 ounces, which makes her a total 122 total ounces. And I can't forget
That's a lot of twos.
that she was born in room number 2 of the hospital.
That's a lot of twos. Also, this isn't like scary at all. This is cool.
This is absolutely wild.
No sound?
These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. Episode 20. Number 1. Coffin births. This is a rare phenomenon that is scientifically known as post-mortem fetal extrusion. It occurs when a pregnant woman dies and her body expels the fetus. The gases in the abdomen builds up and then forces the stillborn fetus out. Number 2. Jeannie,
and the baby
feral
is still
child.
alive.
Discovered in 1970, Jeannie was a girl who had been kept isolated by her family in Los Angeles for over a decade. She was almost entirely mute and had barely any exposure to human interaction or the outside world. Number 3. The Green Children of Woolpit. In the 12th century, 2 children with green-tinted skin appeared in the village of Woolpit in England. They spoke an unknown language.
Burn the witch, burn the witch.
And only ate raw beans. Eventually, their skin lost its green color and they adapted to normal food. The origin of these children still remains a mystery. Number 4. The Hinterkaifeck murders. In 1922, an entire family was mysteriously murdered at their farm in Germany. Reports found footsteps leading to their farm, but not away. This case was never solved. Number 5. The Gympie plant, also known as the plant. It's only found in Australia. This plant's sting is
Australia just has the craziest things, bro.
So painful that its neurotoxins cause too much pain. It drives people and animals to unalive themselves. Number 6. The Devil's Kettle. In Minnesota, United States, there is a waterfall that splits into 2. One side flowing into a river and the other side vanishing into a hole. Scientists still don't know where that water goes. Number 7. NASA would never release information about asteroids approaching Earth. Not because they're worried about us freaking out. It's because we don't have the technology to detect if there are asteroids coming from very far away. Number 8. Human extinction. This is linked to number 7. We can't really confirm if any asteroids are coming to hit us because in 2017 an asteroid named AG-13 was about to hit Earth with less than the distance of the moon. The asteroid flew so fast, scientists were only able to see it 48 hours before it could have hit Earth. This is real information. Let me know if you want part 21.
First of all, these waves are screaming to you to not come in. And then to put your child in that situation and to record it.
This elephant killed a woman and then cracked.
Come in here to your sister's room. Take care of that cat. It's not just the litter box, but could you please give him food and water? Because I know this fucker just ate.
funeral. In
Alright, I'm
2022,
back.
70-year-old Maya Murmur was gathering water near her home in India. It was supposed to be a routine task, but that morning, a herd of wild elephants emerged from the nearby forest. Most villagers know to keep their distance. Maya tried to flee, but one elephant broke away from the group, chased her down, and trampled her with brutal force. She died at the scene. Her grieving family arranged a funeral later that day. As is custom, Maya's body was placed atop a wooden pyre for cremation, a solemn ritual under the open sky. But then, thunderous footsteps echoed in the distance. The same elephant had returned, and this time it brought reinforcements. A stampede of elephants crashed into the village mid-funeral, sending terrified relatives running for cover. In a scene that defied any logic, the very elephant that had killed Maya pulled her lifeless body from the pyre and trampled her a second time. Her remains were left mangled, and the ceremony was left in ruin. This elephant must have had some personal
phobia. I'm going to show you 5 photos. Try your best to make it through all 5. Let's start the test. First one. How does this make you feel?
Hold on, what is that? The irrational, overwhelming fear of submerged man-made objects. Oh, okay.
Hang on in there. The ocean is terrifying.
That looks like a mouth. Am I wrong? That looks like a mouth.
Last one.
That's Rosie. That's a real shark. That's not man-made.
So how did you do? Did you make it through all 5?
I don't have submechanophobia.
If not, then you could have submechanophobia, which is the fear of submerged man-made objects.
Oh, thanks for telling me. I just searched it up.
Let me know if you have submechanophobia in the comments below. And remember to hit the plus sign and follow me so you can make it through.
I didn't know. Tarare, a Frenchman from the 1700s, ate extraordinarily large amount of food, including animals and allegedly a baby. He suffered from polyphagia and died at 26.
A baby?
In 1888.
What was that one guy? The Greek god that ate his kids. Wasn't it like Cronus or something? Yeah, Cronus. Bo literally turned into Cronus.
James Jameson, heir to the Jameson whiskey fortune,
James Jameson. How can you get more James?
bought a 10-year-old girl to observe her being unalived and eaten by cannibals in Congo. In the 18th century, dentures were sometimes made from the teeth of dead soldiers, notably those from the Battle of Waterloo, and sold to the wealthy. A Colorado farmer's chicken named Mike lived for 18 months without a head becoming a sensation and touring the U.S. Ancient Romans used human urine as a teeth whitening and stain remover for clothes due to its ammonia content. Frederick Bauer, the inventor of the Pringles can, was so proud of his invention that his remains were buried in a Pringles can after his death in 2008.
Ew. Just ew. The abandoned hospital doesn't look so abandoned.
As we all know, there's been a new wave of conflict in the Middle East, where multiple air bases were under attack, including the one in Qatar. The United Arab Emirates...
Yeah, wasn't that like... No. Didn't they strike Qatar again? Didn't Iran strike Qatar again? I could have sworn that was the thing.
Strongly condemns the attack, considering it a blatant violation of the sovereignty of the state of Qatar and its airspace.
Oh, no,
the act
wait.
is also a clear breach of
That's
international
probably what I was
law
talking about.
and the United Nations Charter to
Oh, yeah,
the
no,
citizens
June?
and
Oh, yeah,
residents in the UAE. Kindly stay away from sharing content that are not from a reliable source. If you do, you must know spreading misinformation contributes to panic, confusion, and societal division. In times like this, awareness.
Part 310. On the day before 9/11, George Carlin recorded a live set in Las Vegas titled I Kinda Like It When a Lot of People Die, intended as the closing segment of his next special on HBO. But after the attacks the very next morning, the title suddenly felt incredibly disrespectful for obvious reasons. Carlin wisely shelved the material and renamed the special Complaints and Grievances. A few years later, he planned to revive the original title for a new special, only to scrap it once again following the devastation of Hurricane Katrina. In 1959, popular New York DJ Peter Tripp locked himself in a glass booth in Times Square and attempted to stay awake for more than 200 hours as part of a publicity stunt. But as the days passed, Tripp's mind began to unravel. He started hallucinating vividly, screaming that doctors were imposters, believing that people were trying to poison him, and insisting that the furniture was on fire. By the end of it, he had entered a full-on psychotic state. Though he eventually recovered enough to return to broadcasting, those close to him said he was never the same psychologically. His stunt became one of the earliest public examples of sleep deprivation's terrifying effects on the human brain.
It's possible that your best friend might not consider you their best friend. You're not as nice as you think you are. Like, you're most definitely the villain in somebody else's story. Finding love isn't guaranteed in this life, and it's quite possible that the person that you might fall in love with one day in the future is in love with somebody else right now.
This is why you should never play hide and seek. A mom decided to play hide and seek with her two kids. The mom began counting, ready or not, here I come. She begins searching the downstairs kitchen because she knows that they hide there every single time. As she's walking to the kitchen, she starts saying, I wonder where they are. She looks under the table and sees they aren't there, which is kind of odd. She knew they were too scared to go into the basement alone, but she decided to check anyway. They weren't there either. She began to panic. The mom then says, Jordan, Casey, come out now, mommy's not playing anymore. There was no answer. Panic really begins to set in. She decides to call 911 and reaches an operator. She tells the operator what's wrong, and the operator sends an officer to her house. Once the officer arrives, he says, don't worry, we will find them. As she's sitting in the living room, she hears giggling and laughing and hears a closet door slam upstairs. She sprints upstairs and says, Jordan, Casey, you worried me sick. She opened the closet door and nobody was there. While all of this is going on, she hears the doorbell ring. She runs downstairs and finds the officer holding Jordan and Casey. The officer says, they were hiding in the shed out back. Then Jordan looks at mommy and says, why were you telling us to stay in the shed?
3 normal things in one country but shocking to the rest of the world. Part 12. Number 3. In Germany, the deposit system for bottles and cans actively encourages recycling. When you buy a drink, you pay a small additional sum, called Pfand, which is refunded when you return the empty bottle or can to a collection point. This initiative,
Oh yeah, I know. Germany has that. It's actually really cool. It helps people.
aimed at promoting recycling and reducing waste, allows consumers to earn a bit of money in return. Number 2. In Japan, the tradition of Valentine's Day is somewhat different from many other countries. On February 14th, it is usually the women who give chocolates to men, whether it's romantic love, work colleagues, or friends. Men are not supposed to give gifts on Valentine's Day. However, they have their turn a month later, on March 14th, during White Day, where they are expected to give a gift in return to those who gave them chocolates. Number 1. Public toilets in America are often surprising to foreigners due to the lack of privacy they offer. Stalls are designed with large gaps between the doors and frames, allowing a partial view inside. Additionally, the doors are usually shorter, sometimes exposing users' legs. While this design is typical in the US, it can shock those who are used to complete privacy in public toilets.
Biblical places that still exist.
Every single
Jordan
one.
River, where Jesus was baptized.
That's
The
still
rock
water.
that Moses struck and water came out. Jesus' tomb. River of Galilee that Jesus walked on. Red Sea that Moses split. Synagogue that Jesus went to. Garden of Gethsemane, where Jesus was arrested. Place where Jesus healed the paralytic. Place where Jesus told Sermon on the Mount.
Except the only problem, he ain't white.
3 extremely disturbing facts you won't believe are actually true. Number 3. In a bizarre case, an Ohio man was mistakenly declared dead by the Social Security Administration in 1979. Upon discovering this error in 1994, he immediately initiated legal action to restore his status as a living person. However, a judge refused to overturn the decision, stating that there was a 3-year limit to challenge such a declaration. As a result, this man is legally living as a deceased person in his own country.
This guy's dead, but also alive at the same time.
Number 2. There's a disturbing practice at the Museum of Science and Industry in Chicago. The chicks that hatch live in front of visitors in their chick hatching exhibit are then sent to the Brookfield Zoo where they are fed to predator animals. This is a shocking truth hidden behind a seemingly innocent exhibit. Number 1. Disneyland and Disney World are iconic places, often associated with joyful family memories. However, there's a strange phenomenon that occurs in these parks. People so frequently scatter the ashes of their loved ones there that Disney had to establish a special procedure to deal with it. A dedicated team is ready to intervene as soon as an ash scattering is reported, cleaning up the area to maintain the park's joyful atmosphere.
You have to hear this. A man claims that he encountered a demon while working as security at a strip club. Pro was 20 minutes.
We ain't doing
never.
this.
Pinch and hit other
This kid watching this.
because she. This 6-year-old took the life of his classmate because she rejected him. 6-year-old Dedrick Owens lived in Mount Morris Township, Michigan, which was about an hour.
Wasn't there a kid that put his baby brother in an oven? Or baby sister in an oven?
Away from the state's capital. He wasn't born into the best family as his father was in jail, but on the other hand, his mother was there and tried to support him and his brother as much as she could. She worked 2 jobs, but it wasn't enough and they got evicted. Dedrick ended up living in a crack house with his uncle, and this soon would affect his behavior. At 6 years old, his behavior was really bad. He would swear, flip people off, pinch, and hit other kids. His behavior got so bad that he had even stabbed a girl with a pencil in his school. On February 29th of 2000, Dedrick got into a fight with another male class.
On leap year.
It escalated so quickly that he had even threatened to shoot the boy. No one knew that Dedrick had found a gun at his uncle's house and brought it with him to school along with a knife. He decided not to use it yet because he had plans on using it on 6-year-old Kayla Rowland. Just the day before, Dedrick tried to kiss Kayla, but she pushed him away and rejected him, which made him really mad and he wanted revenge. Once it was time to change classes, Dedrick walked up to Kayla and said, "I don't like you," and shot her once in the arm. The bullet entered her right arm and hit a vital artery, which caused her to suffer from a cardiac arrest, and she was pronounced dead. Dedrick had threw the gun in the trash before running to a nearby bathroom, but eventually was cornered by teachers and law enforcement. Once he was in police custody, he explained what he had done and showed no remorse. Because of Dedrick's age, he was not charged with murder, but was instead expelled for 90 days and was placed into foster care. His uncle ended up being arrested and sentenced up to 15 years for involuntary manslaughter.
These are brands with disturbing secrets. Surprisingly, Kellogg's cornflakes weren't invented as a tasty breakfast cereal, but to curb sexual desires. A fanatically religious John Harvey Kellogg invented the cereal while working at a sanitarium and believed that richer foods would increase your sexual desires while plain foods would lessen it. So he invented...
What? Never eating Kellogg's again. Why do we have Frosted Flakes? Why?
The most boring breakfast cereal ever to stop people enjoying themselves a little too much. Thankfully, his brother Will would come to the rescue and see some sense by adding sugar and marketing the cereal properly, eventually winning a legal battle for control of the whole company.
You mean tell me whenever I eat? Okay.
Ants can live a really long time. Like, way longer.
Thought they lived 3 days.
Than I thought. Your normal everyday ant can live like 4 to 15 years. And there have been queens on record living up to 28 years. Next time I have to step on an ant, I'm really gonna be like mourning their whole ass life. This is the hog-nosed snake, and when it feels threatened, it'll puff itself up and hiss at you. But if that doesn't work, it'll flip itself over and play dead. And if you take the snake and flip it from its back to its belly, it'll just flip itself back over like, no, I'm supposed to be dead. Penguins are able to drink salt water like it's fresh water because they have this gland behind their eyes that actually filters their blood and allows them to sneeze the salt out. Now, I'm not saying that we need to hire a bunch of penguins to save the world or whatever, but
I need that.
It's an option.
Somebody better go to Antarctica and train like 50 penguins and make them reproduce.
Morbid Facts, Part 309. Just last week, Colombian bodybuilder and influencer Zunilda Mendez, known online as She-Hulk, was found brutally murdered in a rental home in Spain. She'd been bludgeoned to death with a hammer, and her husband Jared Gelling was discovered nearby, dead from self-inflicted wounds. Authorities ruled it a murder-suicide. The couple had traveled overseas after Jared's knee surgery and were reportedly on the verge of divorce. According to her family, Zunilda had been suffering ongoing abuse, and the trip to Europe was seen as her final attempt to reclaim some peace and closure before ending the relationship. According to a recent study on rainbow trout, fish can suffer for more than 20 minutes of intense pain after being taken out of the water. When fish are removed from water, their gills collapse, preventing oxygen intake and causing carbon dioxide to build
I don't like fishing. I'm kidding.
up in their system. This triggers a strong physiological pain response, which researchers now widely accept as evidence that fish can experience real suffering. The study adds to growing scientific consensus that fish are sentient, capable of feeling pain, and should be treated more humanely in commercial fishing and aquaculture practices.
She lost her life from this poisonous birthday cake. On March 24th of 2024, it was 10-year-old Manvi's birthday in India. For her birthday celebration, her family ordered a cake online from a place called Cake Ganha. Around 7 p.m., Manvi was cutting the cake in front of her family, and this was all being recorded on video. All of the family members, including Manvi, consumed the cake, and about 3 hours later, they all got really sick. Manvi and her sister began vomiting, and she even complained of extreme thirst and dryness in her mouth, so she asked for water. After drinking her water, she went to sleep, but by the morning her health would deteriorate. Around 3 a.m. is when everything would go downhill for Manvi, and her family rushed her to the hospital. When she arrived to the hospital, doctors administered oxygen to her and an ECG was done, but soon after that she passed away. Her family claimed that there had to be a poisonous substance in the cake since they all got sick and filed a report against the owner of Cake Ganha. Back at home, Manvi's family still had the cake sitting there, so they took a sample of it so it could get tested, and once it came back, it revealed that her cause of death was suspected food poisoning. Ultimately, high levels of synthetic sweetener made the whole family sick from eating this cake and even resulted in death.
Oh crap, R.I.P. So but what's this?
Fat, and he had more than 50 mistresses. King Henry VIII armor. Queen Elizabeth I coronation glove. Comparison between Queen Elizabeth I and Elizabeth II coronation gloves. Catherine the Great furniture. Warning, do not look it up. Marie Antoinette's death.
Alright, guess what we're looking up, guys?
Queen Elizabeth I and Elizabeth II coronation gloves. Catherine the Great.
What's so bad about that?
Furniture. Warning, do not look it up.
What's so bad about it?
Antoinette's death mask. Queen Victoria's mourning dress. Shirt worn by King Charles I at the time of his execution. Queen Victoria's drawing of King Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn. Tooth and hair belong.
Dolphins saved a suicidal girl from taking her own life, and the way they did it was so wholesome. A team of field biologists were studying a group of dolphins when all of a sudden one of them broke away from a feeding circle and rushed into deeper waters. The other dolphins soon followed, eventually forming a circle around a dark object. Intrigued by the weird behavior of the animals, the team followed the dolphins to what they discovered was a drowning girl. They managed to pull the girl out of the water and make it to the shore in time. Thankfully, the girl ended up making a full recovery. Although she was found with a suicide note on her, if the dolphins hadn't noticed her when they did, she wouldn't have made it out alive.
How is that wholesome?
The 3 most dangerous places you should never set
They're
foot.
just-
Number 3, the Hoya Baciu Forest, located in
The Hoya what the what? Wait.
dangerous places you should never set foot. Number 3, the Hoya Baciu Forest,
Hoya Baciu. Is that it?
located in Romania, is often dubbed the Haunted Forest due to the many paranormal stories reported there. Many visitors have described feelings of anxiety, a sense of being watched, and some even claim to have seen ghostly apparitions.
A sense of being watched. Like that's gonna be anything new for me.
In addition to the inexplicable phenomena, the forest features oddly shaped trees in areas where vegetation doesn't grow at all, heightening its mysterious ambience. Number 2, the Chernobyl zone in Ukraine is the site of the biggest nuclear disaster in history. In 1986, a reactor at the nuclear power plant exploded, releasing significant amounts of radioactive material into the environment.
Literally, dogs in the Chernobyl explosion site are blue. They're turning into real life bluey.
Today, while some parts of the region are open for strictly controlled tours, others remain highly contaminated by radiation and can pose a severe health hazard.
Still there?
It's crucial to adhere to safety guidelines and not stray off marked paths. Number 1, the Valley of the Kings in Egypt.
So what about North Central Island?
Thing to go is your hearing. So as all your other mortal sensations are leaving this world, the last thing you're ever going to experience are the sounds going on around you, which very well could be like your family members crying or cheering. By the year
cheering? Why would they be cheering?
There's going to be more plastic in the ocean than fish. When pigs get a cold, like a cough, very often they will shoot their intestines out of their anus, and farmers have to like stuff it back in.
Ew. That actually no.
This is why you should always keep pictures of your parents. A little girl named Olivia who lived a very quiet memory with bed and that she has a lot of fun doing so. From high school says what's her mom now previous. The teacher teen murdered, boyfriend gone.
Yeah, those stories suck.
Blood-curdling facts that'll give you nightmares. Many doctors have said that
who knows how many of this stuff is actually true or how much of it is actually fake, really, but I've been at this for an hour basically. I think this is my longest recording yet. So, yeah. See you in the next vid, bro. It's gonna be a long one.